on satellite, on Freeview, on cable, on radio, on mobile, on the web and around the world. This is First at 9 on Other Derana 24/7.
We will behave. MP Nawal Rajapaksa says the proposed protest at Matala will go ahead despite a court order against public disturbance. Stars are out. Best results of the Grade 5 scholarship examination goes to Negombo. Speakers meet. SAARC speakers discuss UN Sustainable Development Goals.
This transformation objective requires us to bring the needs of the most marginalized and vulnerable section of our society to the table.
Can't let it happen. Petroleum Minister Arjuna Ranatunga insists that IOC should not be allowed to increase fuel prices. Making headlines from sports world. Matter of conduct. Opening batsman Danushka Gunathilaka banned for 6 international matches. Bring you news from home and across the world. This is First at 9 on Other Derana 24/7. Good evening, I'm Katrina Chang. On to our top story tonight, Hambantota Magistrates Court issued an injunction order preventing the protest scheduled for tomorrow by the joint opposition adjacent to the Matala airport in Hambantota. The protest is organised in against vesting the ownership of state properties, including Matala International Airport, to foreign nations. Parliamentarian Nama Rajapaksa, however, said that although the police obtained a court order, the protest will go ahead as planned without breaching it.
The order was issued by the Hambantota Magistrates Court, prohibiting the joint opposition from staging a protest after police produced relevant facts before court. Issuing a media communique, the police headquarters said an order is issued prohibiting parliamentarians Namal Rajapaksa and D.V. Chanaka from staging protests, blocking roads, the Indian High Commission, Magampura Port as well as other access roads. In the meantime, parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa expressed views on the protest organised for tomorrow and the court order obtained by the police.
They're going to sell the airport for $205 million. This government, which complains of not being able to repay debts taken by Rajapaksas, is going to sell the airport and buy a ship from Russia using that money. This government not only deceives the people of this country, it deceives the international community as well. In doing so, they continue to sell state property. We insist that this matter be probed, just as the bond issue, and reveal who gets commission out of this deal, as well as why the deal is done and by whom. We won't disturb people as police ordered us not to. We protest against the government. We will not breach the law. We can't do anything if police breaches law. We will behave in a manner which neither insults the court nor the public.
Speaker of Parliament Karu Jayasuriya says that the needs of the most marginalized communities must be highlighted as countries work towards meeting the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. He made the remark addressing the General Assembly of the 8th Conference of the Association of SAARC Speakers and Parliamentarians held yesterday in Colombo.
Speakers and parliamentarians from Sri Lanka as well as other SAARC countries took part in the General Assembly of the 8th Conference of the Association of SAARC Speakers and Parliamentarians. The conference focused on the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which are to be met by 2030.
Our mandate as representatives of the people is critical to achieve the overall objective of leaving no one behind. This transformation objective requires us parliamentarians to bring the needs, interests and aspirations of the most marginalized and vulnerable section of our society to the table. Sri Lanka has a proud tradition of adopting sustainable development practices. We can combine this experience with principles of democratic governance and the positive technological and other advances to achieve the 2030 agenda.
We have the duty to question governments and to solicit facts and statistics, to make informed decisions on priority and goals for the future of our countries and ensure efficiency, transparency and accountability.
Countries of the South Asia have to work together in a spirit of friendship, trust and understanding so that our common challenges may be turned into our common opportunities.
The SDGs directly reflect the needs, expectation and aspiration of the people and parliaments as houses of representatives.
Danushka Krishan from Harishchandra National College in Negombo scored the highest marks in the year's Grade 5 scholarship examination with 198 marks out of 200. It is noteworthy that 3 students who scored the highest are from schools in the Gampa district.
354,062 students from across the country sat for the Grade 5 scholarship examination this year, which was held on the 20th of August. The Department of Examinations released the results last night, and other than an SMS service was able to reach its client base by bringing information first. Danushka Krishan from Harishchandra National College in Negombo, who ranked first in the island, is a resident of Minuwangoda.
අම්මයි තාත්තයි පන්ති බාර ගුරුතුමයි උපකාරක පන්ති වල ගුරුතුමෝයි හැමෝම මට ගොඩාක් උදව් කළා මට ඒක ගැන ගොඩාක් සතුටුයි.
Meanwhile, 2 students, a girl and a boy, scored the second highest mark of 197. Indumini Jaratna from Valipillava Primary School in Ganemulla and Sanjana Nainjit from Tulhiriya Primary School had this to say about their achievements.
හැම ගුරුවරයෙක්ටම වගේ ස්තුති කරන්න ඕනේ මට මේ ජයග්‍රහණය හිමි කර දුන්නට මම ක්‍රීඩා කළා නැටුම් වලට සහභාගී වුණා තරග වලට ගිහිල්ලා සමස්ත ලංකා ජයග්‍රහණ පවා හිමි කරගත්තා
මැඩම් දෙනාට හොඳට කරලා ඉගෙන ගත්තා අක්කත් මේ ඉස්කෝලේටමයි ගියේ මම හිතුවා අක්කට වැඩිය හොඳ ලකුණක් ගන්න මගේ අනාගත බලාපොරොත්තුව ඉංජිනේරුවෙක් වෙන්න.
Tharul Sahas Dharmaratna from Kirillavara Primary School in Gampa is ranked 3rd in the island with 196 marks.
මම අර මගේ නංගිලා මල්ලිලට අවවාදයක් දෙනවා එදිනෙදා උගන්වන දේ එදිනෙදාම පාඩම් කරන්න ක්‍රීඩා කටයුතු වලත් නිරත වුණා මම ටීවී බැලුවා මගේ හිතේ අදිෂ්ඨානයක් තියාගත්ත මට මේ අතරට එන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි කියලා.
Meanwhile, the Department of Examinations also issued cut-off marks for each district for Sinhala as well as Tamil medium. Colombo, Gampaha, Kaluthura, Kandy, Matale, Gol, Mathura, Kegol and Kurunagala have the highest cut-off marks for both mediums. In the meantime, the Department of Examinations informs all students to call for recorrections on or before the 20th of October with the approval of their relevant school principals.
Now, a suspect who was in remand custody at the Negombo prison died last night, prompting his family members to point the finger at the Delimitation police. They charged that the suspect was assaulted by the police. The acting OIC of the crimes branch at the Delimitation police was arrested today over the incident, while the OIC of the Delimitation police, a sub-inspector and a constable, were given immediate transfers to the Paliagoda police station.
The suspect was arrested by Delimitation police on the 2nd of October over alleged involvement in several robberies. He was under remand custody at the Negombo prison when he was admitted to hospital following a sudden illness. The post-mortem revealed the cause of death to be internal bleeding. The relatives of the deceased accused the police of assault. Following the allegations, the acting officer in charge of the crimes branch at the Delimitation police station was arrested. Meanwhile, the OIC of the Delimitation police station and 2 other police officers were also transferred to the Paliagoda police station with immediate effect upon orders of the DIG in charge of the Western Province North.
The University of Cologne is temporarily closed until further notice. The decision was taken by the university administration today following a clash between 2 student groups.
The clash between 2 student groups led to 8 students being hospitalized today. According to the university, the discussions to resolve the issue between the 2 groups have not been successful. The closure, however, exempts the Cologne medical faculty.
Vidya 87 exhibition, which was organised in line with the 50th anniversary of the science faculty, will be cancelled. And all diploma, certificate as well as postgraduate classes will also be cancelled this weekend. The administration, meanwhile, expects to deploy police officers for internal security within university premises from now on.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe left for Germany earlier this morning. A delegation of 5 accompanies the Premier on tour. The Prime Minister is also scheduled to visit Finland on an official visit following his visit to Germany. During the visit, Prime Minister Singh is set to hold bilateral discussions with the Prime Minister of Finland, Juha Sipilä. Whilst in Finland, the Premier will establish new mutual ties in the fields of trade, economic and industries. State Minister of Mahabali Development Mahinda Amaraveera says that the government would introduce a controlled price for rice, irrespective of whether it's imported or not. The minister made the remark at a public rally held in Hambantota.
I'm a member of the Cost of Living Committee. Over the recent days, we held daily sessions. Yesterday, we called a meeting for all the owners of supermarkets island-wide. We requested them to sell essential goods for concessionary rates. I'm glad that they accepted my request, even though they represent the private sector. They agreed to implement a program to sell rice at a price within the 70 rupee bracket from next month onwards. They also agreed to sell coconut for the government's standardized price. If need be, we will announce a control price which will be below 80 rupees, irrespective of the fact whether they are imported or local varieties of rice.
A 5-member delimitation committee for provincial council elections was appointed yesterday by President Maithripala Sirisena. Former Surveyor General of Sri Lanka, K. Thavalingam, is appointed as the chairman of the committee. The other committee members are Professor S.H. Hasbulla, Dr. Anila Das, Bandaranayaka, P.M. Siriwardana and Sangaraj Vijay Sandiran. The committee was appointed based on Provincial Council's Election Amendment Bill, which recently passed in Parliament. The committee must demarcate boundaries for the Provincial Council elections within the next 4 months. A training exercise jointly conducted by the Sri Lankan Navy along with the US Navy and Marine Corps was worked off recently in Trincomalee. The Cooperation of Float of Readiness and Training exercise is bilaterally conducted by the US and several countries including Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Malaysia and Indonesia.
The week-long training exercise focused on a range of subjects including search and rescue operations, transfer of goods and personnel among ships, handling of underwater explosive devices and urban warfare tactics.
Good. Back straight. Up.
We have quite a few capabilities this week, participating and learning from and exchanging tactics with your Navy units. And we are getting a lot of good things out of this week.
Officers of the Police Special Task Force opened fire at a lorry transporting sand following illegal mining in the Mioya area this morning. Police said 2 individuals are hospitalized following injuries sustained during the incident.
Other Derana recently unravelled a sand mining racket in Mioya in the Petroleum district. The Police Special Task Force raided illegal sand mining and transportation in the Mioya area around 2 this morning. According to police, an officer of the Special Task Force was left injured when the racketeers attempted to flee without heeding police orders. The Special Task Force officers then opened fire on the lorry which was transporting sand. Police said 2 individuals who were travelling in the lorry sustained injuries and they, along with the injured STF officer, were hospitalized.
Let's now take a look at other stories making news across Sri Lanka.
The Police Special Task Force discovered a stock of foreign liquor amounting to 45 million rupees from a residence in Rajagiriya. Police media spokesperson SP Ruwan Gunasekara said an investigation is underway. 3 individuals and a motorbike were taken into custody by the Akurasa police officers in connection to recent robberies of fuel stations in Mathara, Nugaduwa, Akurasa, Delimitation and Kotavila. An accident occurred last night near the roundabout in front of the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital after the driver lost control of the vehicle. Several religious activities were conducted in the recent couple of days in celebration of the upcoming 68th anniversary of the Sri Lanka Army under the patronage of the Army Commander Lieutenant General Mahesh Senanayake.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Welcome back to the news. Minister of Petroleum Resources Development Arjuna Ranatunga insists that the government has not decided to increase the prices of fuel. Addressing a media briefing in Galle today, the minister, however, raised the importance of introducing a new fuel price formula as soon as possible.
Indian oil company ඒසතිය කිව්වා ඒගොල්ලෝ මේ මාසෙ අතුලත වැඩි කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා කියලා. ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඕන දේවල් මේ රටට අවිලා කරනවා නම් ඒක කිරීමේ වරදක් තියෙනවා ඒකට.
It is wrong if they are trying to do whatever they want in this country. We have a government and they should make the decisions. But I really think we should introduce a price formula as soon as possible. It would allow us to increase or decrease our oil prices according to global oil prices and in turn let us run this institute independently. We should also be concerned of the fact that most of the expenditure we have is because of maintenance and large numbers of employees. For example, a new oil refinery can run with the help of 250 to 300 employees, but we have around 1,500 people for the job. So the government should make a decision whether to run this as a profit-making institute or carry on with the same procedure after necessary cost cutting.
සහනදායක මිලකට ක්‍රමවේදය දිගටම කරගෙන යන්න අවශ්‍යතාවයක් තියෙනවාද කියලා.
දැන් CPC එකේ තෙල් මිල වැඩි වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
No, they won't.
ඒතර ඔබතුමාලට කියන්නේ මොකක්ද ගන්න පුළුවන් තියෙන රෙගුලාරිටිස් එක. මොකද මම අද බලද්දී අදත් මම හිතන්නේ යාලා මට කිව්වේ ඒගොල්ලෝ අදහසක් තියෙනවා.
ඒගොල්ලෝ කිව්වා පළවෙනිද වැඩි කරනවා කියලා තාම වැඩි කරලා නැහැ.
They said they would increase prices on the 1st, but they didn't. They discussed with me and the finance minister. I requested on behalf of the government not to increase prices yet, but even if they do, we should not follow suit despite the loss it would incur.
අපි මහ ජනතාව වෙනුවෙන් ඉදිරිපත් වෙන්න ඕනේ.
Sri Lanka has blocked a proposal by Chinese firms bidding to build the island's biggest oil refinery to sell fuel locally, fearing a threat to domestic firms that dominate the small but growing market. The veto is the latest in a tussle over Chinese investments in Hambantota, where China controls the seaport and plans an industrial zone for Chinese firms, and a $3 billion refinery with annual output of around 5 million tons. China Huanchi Contracting and Engineering Corp, a subsidiary of state-owned China National Petroleum Corporation, and private refiner Shandong Dongming Petrochemical Group have jointly bid for the refinery located near the port. Reuters quoted Cabinet co-spokesperson Dr. Rajda Senaratne as saying the Chinese companies had asked to sell refined products onto the local market but had been told just to export. They quote another unnamed government official as saying Sri Lanka did not want to cede control of the local fuel market to Chinese firms. The governor of the central bank, Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy, is said to visit the northern province to review the situation of rural-level indebtedness with stakeholders in 5 districts of the province. Accordingly, the governor will meet district secretariats, members of civil society and financial service regional stakeholders in the northern province tomorrow and on Saturday.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
The girlfriend of the Las Vegas gunman who shot dead 58 people on Sunday says she had no idea what her partner had been planning. Her comments came hours before police suggested Stephen Paddock had been living a secret life.
Mary Lou Danley voluntarily flew back to Los Angeles from the Philippines on Tuesday night to speak to the FBI just over 2 weeks after gunman Stephen Paddock had surprised her with a cheap ticket to enable her to visit her family.
He sent her away so that he can plan what he's planning without interruptions.
Meanwhile, police revealed that they had found more explosives and ammunition in Paddock's car, adding however that Paddock's motives and whether there were any possible accomplices remained a mystery.
What we know is Stephen Paddock is a man who spent decades acquiring weapons and ammo and living a secret life, much of which will never be fully understood.
We have found no evidence to this point to indicate terrorism, but this is an ongoing investigation. We're going to continue to look at all avenues.
Bangladesh authorities destroyed at least 20 boats used to transport Rohingya Muslims fleeing violence, saying that the exodus was manipulated for human trafficking and import of illicit drugs.
Reports say individuals who landed on the southern strip of Bangladesh on Tuesday night were beaten and arrested by Bangladesh border guards. However, these acts were denied by Bangladesh local authorities, which claimed that boats of Rohingya Muslims were destroyed as countermeasures to combat human trafficking and smuggling of methamphetamine. Authorities also claim that a sum of $250 is charged from Rohingya Muslims for the boat journey from Rakhine state to the Bangladesh border, and that 20 individuals were rescued from human smugglers this week. Meanwhile, humanitarian organizations assisting Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh state that $434 million will be needed over the next 6 months to provide basic needs for 1.2 million individuals.
Iraqi forces say they had recaptured the center of Islamic State group's stronghold Hawija and are pushing forward in their assault on one of the last IS enclaves in the country. The city was under IS militants' command since 2014.
International media report that at least 196 IS militants were killed and around 98 villages were recaptured by the Iraqi forces. Iraqi army along with Shia Popular Mobilization forces were able to retake Hawija 2 days after capturing the Rashad air base. With the capture of Hawija, the only area that remains under control of IS militants in Iraq is a stretch alongside the western border with Syria.
You are watching Sri Lanka's trusted news brand, Derana 24/7.
On your sports news tonight, we start off with cricket. Opening batsman Danushka Gunathilaka is suspended by Sri Lanka Cricket for 6 international matches, together with a 20% fine of his annual contract fee for misconduct and breach of contract. The suspension is given in consideration of his conduct during Sri Lanka's home series with India. It is effective from the 30th of September, and the opening batsman is now omitted from Sri Lanka's squad for the one-day international series against Pakistan in the UAE. The Executive Committee meeting of the Commonwealth Games Federation was held in Colombo today. Meeting mainly focused on the 2018 Commonwealth Games, which is scheduled to be held in Gold Coast, Australia.
Decisions on sports administration in the Commonwealth region were made, while development of sports in its region were also discussed. The meeting also included recommendations for the 2018 Commonwealth Games. 25 executive members representing 5 continents participated in the meeting.
10 years ago, I was jumping up and down because we won. And when you think 10 years disappears very, very quickly, and here we are again looking forward to the future, to 18, and then where we're going in 2022. We have huge momentum with 4 events in 5 years. We've had 1 games, 2 youth games, and our next games next year. To do that in 5 years, that's unbelievable.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Derana 24/7.
Let's now cross over to Sheila Fernando at the Derana Weather Centre with your forecast for the next 24 hours. Good
Good evening and welcome to the Weather Centre. Starting off with your temperatures for tomorrow, they are to vary between 21 and 33 degrees Celsius. The Department of Meteorology reports that the prevailing showery conditions is expected to enhance to some extent, particularly in southwestern part of the island and eastern province during the next few days. Several spells of showers may occur in northwestern and northern provinces, while a few places in western, Sabaragamuwa and central provinces can also expect fairly heavy showers. Meanwhile, thunder showers will occur in the western, Sabaragamuwa, eastern, Uva and central provinces, as well as Gaul and Mathura districts. That's it from tonight's Weather Centre. Up next is your city by city forecast.
And before we go, we'd like you to take you to Bombrella, said to be the widest waterfall in Sri Lanka. Located near the border of Nuwara and Badula districts, Bombrella consists of several small waterfalls grouped together. Thank you for joining us and have a pleasant evening.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.